Welcome back to Press Review. Let's start by taking a look at today's front pages in the Middle East. The UAE's Gulf News leads reporting that peace negotiations between the Pakistani government and Taliban have failed after the government said it seeks certain clarifications. The paper also reports that British Foreign Secretary William Hague has confirmed that Britain advised the then Indian government ahead of Operation Blue Star at the Golden Temple in June 1984, but said its role was limited only to that and there was no operational involvement. Turkey's Hurriyet Daily News leads today reporting that Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan has said the upcoming local elections in March 30th will be a test for the ruling Justice and Development Party. It also reports that Turkey's opposition parties have slammed the government over graft and that the Polish Foreign Minister has urged the EU to keep its promises made to Turkey. Israel's Jerusalem Post leads its front page reporting that the High Court of Justice has issued an interim injunction against the state, prohibiting it from transferring money to a yeshiva for approximately 3,000 students due to payments' lack of legal standing. It also reports that the IDF is investigating a deadly friendly fire incident on the Gaza border in which a combat officer was killed. And from Beirut, the Daily Star reports today that 3 explosions in Baghdad, including a car bomb opposite the Foreign Ministry, has killed at least 7 people and left more than 20 wounded. It also reports that Italy's Foreign Minister Emma Bonino is holding talks with President Michel Sleiman over international funds to support Lebanon and its armed forces, and that a United Nations Interim Forces in Lebanon employee had fallen to his death in the southern city of Tyre. And now let's take a look at the top headlines in the UK. Today's Independent's front page covers the Syrian crisis as it reports on the battle for the city of Homs. The paper also reports that the British government has been accused of politicising the hospital's watchdog after the chair of the Care Quality Commission called for more private sector involvement in the NHS. David Price says the NHS is in need of serious change and needs more competition to drive up standards of care. The Times leads its front page reporting that George Osborne has suggested that house prices are likely to continue rising for at least another 10 years. The paper also says that the name of more than a dozen charities suspected of serious abuse are being kept secret by the Charity Commission, preventing prospective donors from knowing about the allegations against them, and pictures Prince Charles on a visit to Muchlany in the Somerset Levels. The Daily Telegraph's front page reports that householders face council tax increases of 2% this year after the Liberal Democrats blocked a Conservative attempt to lower the cap on rises to 1.5%. The paper also says that in an article on the Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt has said that a culture of openness is spreading through the NHS, with almost 1,000 whistleblowers reporting poor care every month, and also features a picture of Prince Charles on a visit to the Somerset Levels, saying it's a tragedy that it has taken so long for action to be taken. Also from the UK, The Guardian's front page today takes a look at Justice Secretary Chris Grayling, who is aiming to burnish his right-wing credentials as a tough Justice Secretary by promising fresh crackdowns on terrorists and an end to the use of simple cautions for repeat offenders. The paper also reports on the UKIP MEP Gerard Batten, who believes that British Muslims should sign a special code of conduct and warns that it was a big mistake for Europe to allow what he calls an explosion of mosques across the land. And now let's take a look at the top stories in international papers. The Washington Post leads reporting on congressional budget analysts saying that more than 2 million Americans who would otherwise rely on a job for health insurance will quit working, reduce their hours, or stop looking for employment because of new health benefits available under the Affordable Care Act. The paper also reports on the state of Virginia's lawmakers expected to vote this week to establish the electric chair as the state's default method of execution. And Russia's Moscow Times leads its front page with a picture of President Vladimir Putin posing with a Persian leopard after two journalists are attacked during a visit before the Sochi Winter Olympics. The paper also reports on US Ambassador to Russia Michael McFaul announcing that he will be leaving his position and returning to academia later this month. And the China Daily leads its front page reporting on China's dreams for the Sochi Winter Olympics, saying that despite setbacks, China is hopeful about 2014 medals. The paper also reports on Spring Festival's Gala's spinning girl causing a stir after she twirled non-stop for 4 hours, with critics saying that it was cruel and pointless. And finally, the Times of India leads its front page reporting on the announcement of Indian-born Satya Nadella being appointed as the new CEO of leading tech giant Microsoft. The paper also reports on Sikh bodies seeking an unconditional apology from the UK government after it admitted that it advised the then Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi on carrying out the army-led Operation Blue Star. And for more updates, visit us on Levant.tv. Thanks for watching. I'll be with you again tomorrow for another press review.